everyone. Welcome to the Trade Deadline Show. There is so much drama that's happened in Canuckland. It is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So we're going to dive into the trade scenarios. And what's been interesting about this is Alvin and Rutherford, especially Rutherford, they like to make their deals early. And again, this year was no exception. Moving JT Miller out of the Canucks, which I did not love that trade at all for us, but taking that first round pick and immediately right after the game, right after JT Miller gets traded, before the game, after the game, Marcus Pettersson comes back, which end up being a pretty good deal for Vancouver. And there's some pieces that are interesting to play here, but they did the deal early. But now this team has definitely gone on a slump. It has not been good since that trade. It had a couple good games before the Four Nations Cup, but it is after the Four Nations Cup, it's been on a slide, everyone. And this team, it's frustrating because it can't get the scoring enough to win games. We're not getting the shots generated. We're not getting the goals. And when we do get the goals, then we end up letting in a whole bunch of goals, and we just can't stop anyone. So there's a lot of issues going on, and I just want to kind of give a premise before we dive into this. I know a lot of people are calling for rebuild. I'm not one of those people. I don't think management is going to be one of those people. They are not going to call for a rebuild. Rebuilds are like tear it all down. I don't think Jim Rutherford took this job on to say, hey, I'm looking for a rebuild. He could have went anywhere, everyone. He could have went anywhere. He chose to come to Vancouver with this core. But the problem is Rutherford and Alvin have been very critical, but Rutherford, I believe, said that they realize they can't win with this core, and that is a major problem. So that is something that we need to consider, that we definitely need to consider. So, it's absolutely brutal, and we'll have to see what happens. But we're going to dive into the people there. That's really, really unfortunate. We'll see what happens. It's going to be good. All right. So we are going to dive into this right here. And these are the names. I know that you guys all want to talk about Elias Pettersson getting traded. We're going to leave that to the end because I just feel like I'm not sure if that is the most realistic trade that's going to happen before the deadline. But I'm excited about this. The big question I want to start off with, though, is this. Who's untouchable on this Canucks team? Who's untouchable on the team? Okay? So that is really, really important. That is really important to know. Who is untouchable on this Canucks team? I know that, like, Canuck Tony and I have been talking about this week. He's got a decent-sized list of people that he would not trade. I do not have a long list. And in fact, I have one name, and that's Quinn Hughes. I'm open to trading every single player. And my premise of that is this. It all depends on one thing, what we get in return. I think everyone else is on the table. Everyone else is on the table. Who's on your untouchable list on this Canucks team? Post it in the comments. But mine is Quinn Hughes, and that's it. Now, I don't want to trade Kiefer Sherwood. I think that's someone. But if they offered someone and said, "Hey, we want to take Kiefer Sherwood off your hands," and they gave you a really good player in return, I would trade him. But I don't think that's going to happen at all. I do think that they won't give you a good return, but everyone else, in my opinion, is on that list. I don't know what we're going to get offers for, but it's going to be an interesting time, and there will be some deals for sure. But who's on your untouchable list? I'm just going to look down here, see what you guys had said. So that the guys that are on your list right there is okay. So Steve says DeBrusk, Wielander, and Leckermacky are all on the list. And is Quinn Hughes not on your list, Steve? Rod says Hughes and Wielander is on the list. Sophie just has one, just like me. So Dreamer has Hughes, Myers, Lanky, Hedel, O'Connor, Pettersson's not 40. Okay. So, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. David W. says Lankinen and Quinn Hughes are two at most three of the three or four of untouchable players. I think a lot of people feel that way. Mark says Hughes, Lankinen for sure. Oh, I missed Steve. I didn't see this. So you have Hughes, Hronek, Lankinen, and then you added DeBrusk, Wielander, and Leckermacky. Okay, sounds good. Sarah says Garland. Shannon says Quinn Hughes. Those who just extended at plus Hughes. Okay. Hughes is the untouchable. Hughes. Hey, good to see you, man. Hughes. Everyone's saying Hughes. Thank you so much. I'm glad you love the hat. We are going to be retooling. I can't see Rutherford and Alvin not retooling. So, let's see this. Okay. So we're gonna dive in to. Thanks everyone for doing that. We're gonna dive into some other names now. We're gonna dive into some other names. So, let's just see. Jim has said if they rebuild, Quinn is moving on. Yeah, he said that. They're not moving him. Roberto says Hughes, Hedel, DeBrusk, Lanky, Sherwood, O'Connor, DPD, Garland, all staying. The rest can go. Okay. Sophie says Quinn, and then she said everyone else can get traded. Our team is going to be rebuilding if Quinn leaves. And yeah, that's when the rebuild will happen if Quinn leaves. Coach Raw Willie says RevTrev is untradeable too. Thank you. Roberto wants more Canadian players ASAP. We'll see what happens here for sure. Those are good things. Okay, so we talked about who's untouchable. If my numbers are correct, I've seen this already. Canucks current cap space is 8.6 million with an expected deadline cap about 10.4. I don't know if that number is still there. There's a lot of money to be moved. And so let's talk about it. Let's talk about what are they going to do with that money? What are they going to do with these players? Okay. So I'm going to go through these players on the trade block today, I think, and we got 1 week left, right? It's Friday. Let's make sure. NHL trade deadline is when, right? Trade deadline date is Friday, right? The 7th. Is that correct? It has to be the Friday because it's almost always the Friday. Let's see. We are in March now, and that is the 7th. Correct. It's the 7th, which is Friday. Okay, so here we are. So, let's talk about Soucy. I think he's on the trading block. I'm surprised he hasn't been traded already. I think that's one of the reasons why Elias Pettersson, EP 25, wasn't playing tonight, because they wanted to showcase Soucy. And that is what the Canucks were doing. I don't know if that backfired in the game. He looked good the last game, but I think he's on the trade block. The problem with Soucy is, what can you get in return for Carson Soucy? He's making $3.25 million, I believe. Let me just bring that up while I'm talking, because that's an important piece. Actually, I should just bring that up anyways. Go to Puckpedia. Let's bring this up. This will make it a little more interesting. Share screen. Let's do this right here. Okay. So, right there, we got Pettersson, Boeser. Okay, let's go to Soucy. Soucy, $3.25 million. He's got a no trade clause. Player cannot be traded without the player's approval. That's craziness. So that gives a bit of a monkey wrench. Okay. He's 30 years old. He's a left-handed shot defenseman. We know a lot about him. Tall guy, can play tough in the playoffs. 3.25 million this year, which is not much left on that one, and then 3.25 next year, and then is a UFA. So this is an important time for him. I think Soucy's on the trade block, everyone. But what would you get in return for Soucy? I'm thinking that you're probably going to get, maybe a 5th round for Soucy. And as long as it's a salary dump, I think that's good as well. Murray, I'm with you. They won't trade Mancini or Josiah. I think you meant Joshua there. Yeah, so the trade deadline is noon our time, so 3 p.m. Eastern. G says the Nux organization is like working for a high-tech company. Hire, fire, hire, fire. I know. Japan Force says we need to get rid of salaries and sign Sam Bennett for toughness and for the playoffs. True. Absolutely true. That would be awesome. I'd love to get Sam Bennett. Love him as a playoff player. Soucy wants to stay in Western Canada. Okay, he might not be able to, but it's under his control. Like he controls his own destiny, right? He controls his own destiny. Although I also heard Restalion, I am not sure about the Soucy rumors. Yeah, there's a lot of Soucy rumors. So, okay, so let's now talk about people will trade him for a bag of pucks. Let's talk about Suter. Okay, Pius Suter is a massive candidate for trades. He is a defensive forward who can score the goals. He can play up and down the lineup when needed. He can play wing. He can play center. It's kind of one of those guys I want us to keep, but it depends on what we can get in return. And I think there's going to be teams that are in the hunt that would like to add a guy like Pius Suter to their roster. Seen him score last couple games. Soucy is that guy. If you have an injury, he can play that center position and be good enough. He won't be great, but he'll be good enough. And we saw him play really well in the playoffs for us. I think a lot of teams are going to like that. He is an unrestricted free agent, if I see that correctly. He is an unrestricted free agent. Where is he here? I bet Passmore. Yeah, 1.6 million, guys. Like, this is dirt cheap. Is he going to come back to Vancouver next year? I would like to see him back, but I remember listening to Drance, and he was saying that Suter, was it Drance or someone else that was on the radio, that he's worth probably $3 to $4 million. You think we just paid, what's his name? Drew O'Connor, $2.5 million. You've given Hoglander $3 million for next season. Like, Suter is like arguably better than both of those players. And I don't think it's close at those age, but like it's close as in like they're kind of in the same category, but Suter seems to produce more than those other two guys do. So that is something when we think about Suter that I think teams will be interested. But it is, right? It is what it is. So which players actually have true value for a trade? I think Suter is one of those ones. Steve says it's going to be salary dump time to make cap room for free agency, as the Canucks are going to have to overpay for players to come here now with the cap going up. Yeah, that's definitely a different, a possible strategy. Suter is great, but has no wheels like Boeser. Yeah, that's fair. Calvin says Soucy and Hoglander draft pick for Holmstrom, Boeser and Myers, so Samuelson and Byram. Yeah, that's some big deals. Boeser and Myers, so Samuelson and Byram. I don't know if Buffalo would do that. Suter would be a third rounder and prospect. You think he'd get both? I think he'd only get one. But maybe you're right. That'd be not bad. The only thing about Soucy is that clause of his no trade clause. I don't think he wants to go anywhere since he's had twins recently. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, we're going to talk about Brock next, so I'll get to your comments in a second about Brock. If you get rid of Suter, you will need to add another center. Hopefully we can keep him, Matt says. I would be happy to keep him. Yeah, I know that I mentioned him last time. I think he's solid. I don't know if he's really good, but yeah. The other thing is too, Angelo, this is the thing that people don't understand. Which are the guys that are killing penalties for us? And Suter's one of those guys. We need guys like that. But it depends on at what price, right? We're not going to talk about Brock yet. Yeah, what is Hoglander worth in trade? I'm not sure. That's the other thing. I think he'd be a sweetener in a deal. Can we trade the owners of the team? No, we can't, but I know that's a legit question. Doug says Suter should stay. You'll just be looking for another Suter next year. It's true. Absolutely. Dan, we could pool our money and try to buy the team. That's true. Aquilini for Gallardi and a first rounder owner trade. Okay, so now let's talk about Brock Boeser. Now, I've made a full video on this already, as you know. Okay, you guys know that I've made a video on him and what I think. I think he's going to be traded. But then thinking about it today, this is where I get a little nervous when it comes to Brock Boeser. Brock Boeser, in my opinion, the longer this goes on, the more that I'm like, I'm not sure if they're going to move him. And this is what I mean by that. And you guys heard the rumor that went that they've already offered him $8 million AAV, which, by the way, it's not that big of a jump. He's making $6.65 million. So really, we're only talking about, just over $1 million more a year. But he was offered 5 years and he rejected that. Now, it sounded like that was earlier on in the season. He rejected that. So this has now just come out. We know that he hasn't signed a deal yet with Vancouver. What I cannot think this cannot happen. It's either you got to sign him. You cannot use him as your own rental and lose out on him. You have to sign him. So if the plan is to sign him, that's fine. But I think what everyone here is saying as that they don't want to sign him for 8 times 8, right? If Brock Boeser is getting 8 million times 8 years, I think that's ridiculous. It's just too long of a contract. I don't think that we should do that. Now, the problem is this. So everyone's like convinced that, and I'm one of those people, that Brock Boeser is going to get traded, but to who? There's not many rumors out there going on. There's not many reports of teams that are calling the Vancouver Canucks regarding Brock Boeser. So to me, that's like, it's just a lot of talk about, like, from Vancouver's perspective, you need to move him, but what could you get for Brock? Now, Coach Rob says 6 years at 8.2. That's possible. I still think they want to be at the 5-year mark, but we'll see. Matt says 2 or 3 years at 9.5. That's a big jump. I don't know if he'll want to do that. Let's see what else other people have said about Brock. Yeah, a lot of people, I know, Angela, you've talked about this for probably a year or so now. Back to Minnesota for Brock. Steve says, Boeser will get you a first-round draft pick. I hope he won't resign because the Canucks won't give him term because of his age and skating ability. I agree. Boeser could go to the Wild. The other team that I was thinking about would be the Ottawa Senators. And that's one thing. I was talking to Mark about that, and it's that Josh Norris conversation. Now, I believe Josh is injured right now, if memory serves me correctly. So this might not be an available one. Let's just see. I'm just going to dailyfaceoff.com and just go into it. Ottawa. Oh, no, he did. He played tonight. So Norris is definitely an option. And the reason why Norris is an option to come back in return is because Norris and Quinn Hughes are good buddies, right? So that would be a possible one. So Minnesota would need to dump salary to get Boeser. That's true. Shannon, you're right. Brock Boeser might just stay in Vancouver. You think he needs to stay? I don't think he needs to stay. It all depends on what. I'm kind of leaning that he's going to stay now, and they're going to work out some kind of deal. He wants to be here. This is the team he's on. We love him. He's a great teammate. He's got offensive upside. Yes, he's slow skater, but when he's paired up, like this is the problem. You trade away JT Miller, and him and JT had great chemistry together. So now we're seeing it. He does not have chemistry anymore with Pettersson. I mean, Pettersson has no chemistry with anyone because he is struggling. So, and you'd think those two together would be able to work some magic. They can't do it. Brock will be getting 5 minutes a night halfway through a new Canucks deal. Dan, you think so? I think that what has happened with Boeser is the same thing as Zadorov. Negotiations fall through. Yeah, but you got to move him then, right? Coach Rob says maybe give it to him as 6 or 8 years from now. The current GM will be long gone. Yeah, I just don't think it's wise to give him 8. And I think that's where the argument is. It's not about the money. It's about the term. Stewart wants only a 6-year deal. Teams are all hoping they can sign Brock in the offseason. Absolutely. Sens seem to be desperate. They need a boost to 8-year drought to end. Absolutely. Couldn't they just front load a Boeser contract 2 times 8? No, it's already 8 times 5. Why would he take 2 times 8? 2 times 7? No, he wouldn't do those. If they've already offered him that, it just doesn't make sense. He's not going to go backwards. Boeser and EP40 for Tage Thompson. I would love that. But I think you need probably Boehm Byram. So gets him the term he wants. That is not the term he wants. He wants 8 years, right? So I don't understand how that works. Yeah, that's true. With Gustav Nyquist traded to the Wild, you're right, Japan 4. I don't think Boeser goes there. Hughes, Sherwood, Garland, they play with heart. That's true. Brock and Brady T on the Senators would be interesting together. Oh, yeah. They would be. Hey, Dave W., I know that you follow the Sens, right? So the Sens struggled to score goals during the 5 games before their win over the Sharks, scoring 3 goals in the first of those 5 losses and under 3 goals of the other losses. Yeah. It gets better if we get a center that can play with them. That's how it gets better. 2 plus 2 plus 4 equals 8. Oh, really? Sorry. Yeah, I find that not that part, but what he was saying confusing. Like, where you would have to front load, you'd have to give him like $10 million for the next 3 seasons, and he might take that. You know what I mean? That's where we're at, everyone. And it might be okay to do that. I'm not the GM, so it's hard to say. All right, let's dive into the last couple here. Hoglander Hoglander. I know some of you want to talk about Demko. Demko, let me just share with you Demko's not getting traded to anyone. Nobody wants an injury-prone goalie. A goalie has such difficulty. I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if Thatcher Demko gets traded before the deadline. He's got another season after this at $5 million. He might get traded in the offseason, but I'm thinking that Thatcher Demko will be here past Friday. So that's why I don't have him on this list. Let's talk about Hoglander. He's been in trade talks all year. The thing that I watch when I watch Hoglander is his effort level's high. He gets abused on the ice big time, like big time. It's crazy. And it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. So I don't really want to trade Hoglander. I know he's getting paid $3 million, but I would do it depending on what comes back in return, and if he's a sweetener to get something sweet. You know what I mean? I'm okay right now moving Hoglander, but it all depends on what you get back. And in my opinion, you're not going to get much back for Hoglander, but we're going to find out. What's awesome about this is today is Saturday, and we only have a few days left, and we're going to find out. So I would do this deal, Hoglander and Pettersson for Cousins and Byram. I would do that for sure, especially because we'd get rid of a lot of salary there for sure. So Demko is a $9.99 McDonald value meal, 50% retained. Yeah, I know. People want us to talk about it, and I just don't see him getting traded at all, because who wants to give that up, right? Who wants to give that up? And you'd buy that for $1. Okay, sounds good. Okay, let's dive into what I would consider the most controversial topic. But before we dive into the Pettersson conversation, remember, guys, there's lots of rumors out there, not many reports. There's so many rumors and not many reports. And that is where I get concerned. Like, what is actually happening? And there's a lot of talk by a lot of different teams. There was a trade done today with the Avalanche and the Rangers. Lindgren ended up going to the Avalanche. They were trying to move him. I'm surprised he didn't come to Vancouver. So what are the rumors, what are the reports, not just the rumors? And it seems like there's not a lot of reports out there. But there is one report that one person, Elliot Freeman, was talking tonight regarding Pettersson. And he was saying he doesn't think he's going to get traded before the trade deadline, but he might get traded this summer. Once his no trade clause kicks in, it's going to be tough. Or no movement clause, I should say, right? Let me just clarify that. I think it's the no movement clause. No movement clause at all. So he cannot be moved at all. Okay? But Pettersson, I'm open to trading. And again, it just comes down to what we get in return. I'm not interested in just trading Pettersson for a bag of pucks, even though I do want to move that contract really, really bad. He has a potential to turn things around in the future. I'm just not convinced about that right now. So yeah, it would be rough. There's no reports because PD's value is decreasing almost daily. I would agree with that. There is going to be a trade that nobody expected. I think so. You won't get Cousins for PD anymore. I don't know. I have a feeling Buffalo's in need of some help. Let's see what else you guys have. I think teams would entertain Boeser, but I don't have a list. But I think a GM would bite. Yeah, they should. Rumors are created by crazed fans. That's why there's no reports. I heard PD before July 1st. That's possible. EP40, Dan says, won't even take a shot on goal. Why would any team take a shot on him? I'm not sure. Trev, a question. I read an article on Beachz's son, who may be in the draft next year. Could the Canucks sign him early out of nowhere? No, I don't think they can. The 3-team deals, 2 different 3 teams deals I've ever seen. Yeah, he's got his money at the right time, Adam. There are a lot of other fans who want Boeser and are pretty convinced they get him. It's basically Rantanen and another. Yeah, those are those crazy ones. Like, I don't think we're trading Pettersson for Rantanen. Now, I was watching a clip from Sekeres and Price, and was it Blake that was saying that's a bad trade for the Canucks because Rantanen could be a rental. And you're trading a number 1 center. Well, you're not trading a number 1 center. He can't win faceoffs. He's not producing points. He's not shooting the puck. Pettersson right now is not a number 1 center. And so, like, when you have Pius Suter that is playing better as a center than Elias Pettersson, or Elias Pettersson, I should say, that is concerning to me. That is concerning. And a lot of people are like, no, you can't have Dylan Cousins in there. I'm like, he would do a better job at this stage than Pettersson. So, and this is the problem. East Van Nucks, you're right. We're a team full of third liners. That's like, I think, I don't think DeBrusk and Boeser are third line players, but everyone else is playing like third line players. That's what it is. EP's 40s, no move calls, kicks. After it kicks in, it will make it harder. Yeah, well, yes, of course. That's the point, David W. That's why we need to get him to get signed or traded before that. Pettersson, Dobson, Nelson, I would do that deal. That's a great deal. I don't think the Islanders do that deal. The question is, which team out there has the biggest I can fix him mentality? That's true. I don't think he has zero potential, Adam Lee. I know you don't like him. You want to trade him for nothing. That's just bad business. I don't think that trade is still on the table, but it would be nice. Tomlinson said O'Connor has been elevated to the PD line, and I almost fell off my chair laughing. Right, Doug? Kevin Pettersson would get us value. Other teams think he is recoverable. Buffalo still wants him for Cousins and another. Considering the contract, I think we should consider it. Here's the thing. Cousins makes $7 million a year. Bowen Byram makes, I believe, $4 million a year, if memory serves me correctly. I was bringing up Buffalo's thing right now. So, yeah, let's look at this. So, let's bring this up so you can see it. So Cousins makes $7.1 million till 2023. But he's a 24-year-old right-handed shot forward. And then if you go and get some people want Samuelson, well, he's 24. Bowen Byram, left-handed shot defenseman, right? 3.8. He's an RFA. So you got to sign him next year. And what's he going to make? Yeah, so you're basically taking the Pettersson money straight up, and you're spending it already. That's exactly what you're doing. You're spending it already. That's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but we don't know when they're going to name it. I don't know. I just want to talk about trades here. I know. It's bad. There's no way we're getting Rantanen for AP40. I agree, but I've seen a lot of rumors about that. I've seen this too. AP40 trade for Miller. I would love that. We traded our number 1 center away. AP40 for Horvat. I don't think the Islanders would do that. That would be a good trade for us because he's way cheaper and he's playing much better than Pettersson is. Pettersson to Buffalo, Cousins to Van. Byram back to Colorado, Middlestat to Van. Oh, boy, that would be awesome. I like that one, Kevin. Can we sue EP40? No, well, you could, but I wouldn't do it. You're going to lose money. I think you trade PD for Cousins and whatever else, and you can use that to get try to get that for first line center. I would think we'd have to get Chris Drury very, very drunk to trade PD for Miller. I like that plan though. Pettersson for Miller. Oh, Gary, you love that. We're back in the sea of Greenland, boys. Let go. Try to enjoy the float. PD for Chris Kreider. Let the Rangers deal with the rift. Oh, my goodness. It's like Pettersson goes to Philadelphia and his coach is Tortorella. Wow. Which Canucks do you think has played their last game tonight, or do you think no trades will happen until after our Wednesday game? That's a good question. Good to see you guys, by the way. Canucks Uncensored, you guys definitely hit the like and subscribe for those guys. They're awesome. I wouldn't be surprised if the deadline that they get traded after Wednesday, but anything can happen. So who played their last game tonight? I could see Soucy. I could see Suter. I could see Boeser. But I think Besser's going to be a Friday deal. Doug says PD will be gone by Friday. Rutherford will not accept what is going on here. I would be shocked. I will also be very happy if we move him. Just gut-wrenching to go from the success of last year and the excitement of going into this season thinking we were that close to the Oilers. I know. It's frustrating. EP40 has 2 shots in 2 games. Tyler Myers is number 2 in points since January 1st. It's crazy. EP40 gets traded during the draft or in the offseason, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded at the deadline because Rutherford is a wild man. It's true. So David W. says, I believe that inevitably EP40 will be gone from the Canucks for his 30th birthday, although just how soon is to be determined. Sophie, need Chicago to retain someone's contract for that one to work out. Yeah, for Chicago to work out. What did Kevin? Yeah, Kevin had that good comment, right? Where is it? No, that's not Chicago. It would be Colorado. Yeah, EP 11.6. Trade him for cap space. Yeah, I love the uncensored Canucks guys too. They let Nyquist go for nothing. I'd rather take him than some of our Canucks. Rick says, if front office truly going to put on put their chips on PD, Boeser has played his last game. Boeser for you love that deal with Dallas. That would be good. Yeah, he's puck shy for sure. Cheap pudding go to. Yeah, Bedard's not going to get traded, everyone. I want him there. People might be overreacting. We've been playing with a team with a team 9 to 14% under the salary cap. We're playing playoff style hockey and have high odds of making. I do not think that we are playing playoff hockey. We're not playing playoff hockey. We are on a downward spiral right now, Hans. That's a fact. I'm not even just like trying to have overreaction theater. This team is trending in the wrong direction. I do that trade for things. Yeah, he is so good from Dallas and young. A lot of people have come into my stuff and said the Canucks traded the wrong guy. Should have traded Pettersson, not Miller. Isn't hate, it's passion. Okay. And PD will follow before July if he doesn't. What does that mean? Now, I would love that, Doug, but they wouldn't do that. Hey, thanks so much for gifting someone. Thanks so much, Adam Lee, for being generous. if we had ever had a Stanley Cup, none of this would have mattered as much. I know. Yeah, he is a gritty kid, small but plays big and actually shoots. Yeah, that's important. Yeah, I don't think we're going to make the playoffs at this stage. Winnipeg versus Van would be interesting. Both my teams. Oh, that'd be awful. We get smoked, dude. I blame the Four Nations for this. If we can somehow manage to steal Ranton from Carolina for Pettersson, that's true. So 0 hate, only passion. Okay, I'm glad you clarified that. Glad you clarified that. I would love to get Ranton in. I think maybe the Boeser piece is good. Even if Pettersson somehow turns this game around, his style play sucks when it comes to the playoffs. True. It's true. At this rate, Hughes will be gone in 2 years, and he wants to be on a winning team. I'm not losing hope on Quinn Hughes yet. That's the point I want to make tonight. That's the point I want to make tonight. All right, everyone. This has been an interesting talk tonight. Thank you for being part of the Canucks Trade Deadline show. Wanted to talk about all those players. And we'll see what happens. Tonight was another poor performance by the Canucks. Last game was as well. We are trending in the wrong direction. I think we might just become sellers and just write this year off, or that we're going to add and try to make a push to make the playoffs. We'll see what happens. We only have a few days, and we'll know what happens. So, again, thanks everyone for being here tonight. This is my second video. I did the post-game show, and I went live. Thank you for joining me. 122 people showed up tonight for a second video right after. That is awesome. You guys are amazing. Have a great day, and I'll see you Wednesday or before that if any trades happen. I'll see you. If there's a trade that happens in Vancouver line, I'll be going live in the evening. So stay tuned. Have a great day, and go Canucks, go.